All right. Does anyone remember what happened last time then?
Things went south, very south.
Yeah, no, we basically continued fighting the cultists that we interrupted, and shot up a bunch of people around the circle, and eventually the big guy behind the altar levitated into the air in the middle of the circle, and then we decided to get out of there and used so far I believe 2 teleporter beacons to escape, and then we're about to use a third if I'm not mistaken.
All right. Yeah, I'm seeing 3 groups teleported away, and then I know one had one spare that tossed it over to the rest of you on the dais. All right, so mark that XP down for on your character sheets for now. And I do believe a turn tracker is in order as well. I hear those are a thing. All right. So the fall. So all of you see as you are, and the rest are hanging out somewhere else. You see this bright, impossibly bright column of light dissipate and sink back into the floor, and where once a robed chaos sorcerer stood in full battle plate, you instead see something slightly different. Looks something like that. Standing roughly the same size, maybe slightly taller, the armor completely peeled away and stripped. The naked body of this master stands on the dais in the middle of the circle, and in a mocking caricature of the Primarch Sanguianus, he spreads his demonic angel wings as a roughly a 30-foot wingspan from tip to tip, and you hear him howling with laughter as he draws his twin swords of change, and both blades and the wings themselves are burning with ethereal warp energy. How is there any reaction to this at all before while I start looking through his character sheet?
I'm basically focusing on thrusting my pack and zipping around the circle to get to where Manos and Blad are.
Manos is a little unfazed since I'm assuming he's still knocked out.
Oh yeah,
And
he's still
Manos,
unconscious for a
Manos
good
probably
9 minutes.
just wants to get as far away from him as possible.
Sound plan.
Vlad is cussing him, preparing to besmirch the holy image of Sanguine.
All right, so psyker bullshit time. I hear that's fun for the whole family. So he's gonna channel some psyker bullshit, and then let's see how it goes. Actually, I would. Actually, no. You're because none of you are in squad mode, so you wouldn't have to do the fear. But yeah, you can see from his corporeal visage that this is very much a demon that you're standing in front of right now. So things have gone spectacularly sideways. And I would like all of you who are currently conscious to roll a +10 willpower, please, to see if you can resist the compulsion that comes over you.
I feel like I need to re-roll that.
On pure principle, if nothing else. I actually need a roll from Manus as well, +10. But if you
Shit.
fail, nothing bad will happen.
Since this is a
Alright.
new session, I want to spend a fate point.
Yeah, I'm gonna fate point Manos too.
Alright.
What the shit?
This is some impressive stuff right here, y'all. Alright, so out of all that, I think we only have one success so far. Alright, yeah, that's pretty impressive. And sadly, the degree of success on that one didn't match because it's an opposed willpower. So I think there is a bit of a strong leap between 13 and 5 there. So you are all under the throes of compulsion. So I'm gonna have a quick look at the rule to make sure. Because there is a very specific thing about this power.
Somebody can pulse the fuck up the sandwich.
Oh shit. Sandwich.
Traffic.
Seth.
If you could be a doll and at your leisure, go into our old Rogue Trader session, take screenshots of your orc. I'm going to use them in my Rogue Trader game.
Alright, so all of you who are conscious that did not beat 13 degrees of success are compelled to move together as in one giant cluster. And that happens on your turn, so whoever is so that's the compel, so you get your action to spend your action to move. So it basically says the power is to briefly act against the will. This power can affect. So it's basically, as far as I can tell, you follow the command if you fail, and it doesn't say anything about having it happen immediately. So I assume it happens on your turn if you fail, and you spend that turn trying to do that. Alright, so this tiny pink car is gonna take a warp fire shot at Oreo because you're the closest. You wanna try to dodge that, or are you good?
Yeah, I can try to dodge.
Alright. Yep, you managed to succeed as the bright beam streaks past your head. And he looks slightly miffed by this mystery. Alright, so the next group of pink cars is gonna take a shot at Alfie, and this is a horde as well. Yeah, so Alpha, you have 3 streaks, bright streaks of warp fire stream past your head, but apparently no one is able to actually hit anything, which is a refreshing change from how it used to be. All right, Ingvar, on your turn, you are compelled to cluster up, which I do believe you are already in that pile down there with Manus.
Oh shit, I forgot about Ingvar.
No, he's next to Vlad, and he's probably the one holding Manus at this point, so it's all good. All right, Alf, you are compelled to move closer to your brethren to group up. So you can move your full move or half move, or however you want to do that. However you want to interpret the compel to move closer.
All right, let me see what my movement looks like. I guess I can do a full move and cluster up.
Yep. It's a pink horror, the horde number 2, and yeah, as you see, as I should have mentioned this earlier, but yeah, as the column of light, warp light, dissipates in the center and reveals the demonic entity with the essentially possessed sorcerer with the burning wings. The groups of stormtroopers chained to the wall in each corner of the room all just explode outwards in a shower of gore and blood, and in its place you see a large small horde of pink horrors, the minor demons of Sinch, who spawn in their place, and they all look fairly annoyed at the whole situation. So this one, again, because it's on the top there, is going to take a shot at Oreo because you're the closer. All right, so we have at least 2 hits there. So what are those hit locations? Yeah, so arm and body respectively. So calculate the damage on that one, Oreo, if you take any.
All right.
All right, pink horde down bottom right corner is going to take a shot at Ariel because you're the closest, I think. Actually, equal distance.
Let's see if Periel's luck continues.
It does. He's going to take a shot at Vlad. And it's going to take the last one's going to go at Pariel just for the hell of it, so we don't stack all the damage. Yeah, so Vlad, you take 16 damage, pen 6. And that
I couldn't
is...
dodge it.
No, it's a horde, so you can't dodge horde attacks.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's 60, so that's a body as well. the one that hits you. Right, Pyriel, you are compelled to move closer to your brethren. So spend the move as you see fit to get closer to your brethren in the pile there.
I'd have to do a run to make it that far.
Yeah, but you also have your backpack.
He doesn't have one.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's the unconscious one that have it. But yeah, if you can make it there in one turn, then that's
Yeah,
what you're compelled to do.
yeah. If I use a run, I'll make it.
Yeah. Yeah, so pile up with the rest of them. Manos is unconscious and also failed his wiggle, or willpower rather, not wiggle. So I'll deal with that in a moment. Oreo, you are currently being attacked by comically terrible demons, and you are also compelled to move closer to your brethren.
Yeah, I can easily make it there, so I will move to this location.
Excellent. Is that a full move for you, or is it a half move? And the only reason why I'm asking that is because if you the compel is basically just group up together, like that's the compel, and there was nothing about, like if you take a half move, if you can get in range with a half move, then you still have a half, for a half action for a standard attack, for example. So that's the only reason why I'm asking.
That still took me a full move.
All right. All right, so the pink horror at the bottom here, it's gonna take a shot. There is fairly target-rich environment right now. Yeah, Oreo is unfortunately closer by like 2 meters, so it's gonna take. Yeah, no, do one on each to spread the pain. So that will be Vlad in the middle who gets the hit. I almost feel bad for doing this. Yeah, 15 damage, pen 10. Pen 6. On the body again. And once you have figured out the damage, if you take any, it's your turn to act. Though you are technically compelled. Actually, no, because the compel is to group up, and you are already grouped up as good as you can get. So I suppose you have a half action free, because if there was any movement you needed to do, you could easily do that with a half action. So I'll give you a half action if you want to do something.
Could I grab the melta bomb off Manos and throw it in?
Sure. Yeah, so you grab it as a free action, and you just toss it, which is a standard attack, ballistic.
I mean, couldn't you just as easily grab the beacon and get us out of here?
Also an excellent suggestion.
Because I really don't like the fact that we're all grouped up like this. Just screams AoE.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'll do. I like to teleport.
All right. Yeah, you reach down, grab the teleport beacon, and spam the emergency recall button. And yeah, with a bright flash of light, all of you disappear into the ether once again for half a blink of a second before you rematerialize again at Teleportarium on the ethereal spectra. And yeah, you're still in the same formation as you appear on the ship again, and the tech priests are running around, making sure, double checking all the cogitators and the capacitors, make sure that there is no permanent damage done to the ancient and venerable teleportarium as you return once more to the safety of the ship. Yeah, that effectively ends combat, seeing as you have teleported away now. Unless there is something else you want to do that requires a turn order. I think we can leave this now. All right, so you're back on the ship. What are your initial actions and reactions to this crazy endeavor?
Get some medical help for Manos.
Yeah, I'll probably neither Oreo nor Alfie are wounded, but Alfie will be helping anyone who is wounded.
Yeah, and I think as you're standing on the teleportarium on the pad, you have, like, you see coming towards you, like almost same moment, like you teleported onto the ship. You have the apothecaries storming towards you with guardians and a couple of like chapter serfs as well, like tagging along, and yeah, they help all of you who are wounded, and they give you a express ride to the Medicaid wing of the ethereal spectra. And yeah, the rest of you who aren't wounded or in need of medical attention, you are essentially dismissed to clean up and stow your gear before reporting to the brother sergeant about your mission.
Lad only has 3 wounds left. Saf is only down by 1.
All right. Yeah, Manos, you are in your unconscious state. You are rushed to the apothecarium, where both Alf and the chief apothecarian, is descending upon your unconscious body to strip you of your battle plate and put you in the Medicaid bed to perform any medical procedure that needs to be done.
I mean, I'm at -6. I probably need a lot done.
All right. So yeah, Alf, do you want to do the Medicaid test
Oh yeah, I can do that.
to see if you can restore some health to the people missing? And you get a +10 because of Soriel is helping out, the chief apothecarian.
All right, so my Narthecium, don't know how you pronounce this, gives me a plus 20, and my Diagnoster helmet gives me a plus 10, so it's a total of plus 40, I believe.
Yeah. That's pretty good. And yeah, same thing for, I think it was 2 others that were wounded as well. Probably don't need the first aid, but, it never hurts to get one. And Apothecarion will convey the plus 10 for you as he is aiding you. Just gonna have a quick look at the Medicaid skill to see how that works with crits. Alright, so equal to the characters. So Medicaid, degrees of success plus character bonus. Or, yeah. So if you were to make the test, so 1 degree of success on what's your intelligence bonus?
Plus 5.
Oh yeah, so six health on the first one. What is that? 8 or 6? Yeah, so 8 plus 6, which is a lot on the second one. So whoever was damaged before, you get some health back. And Manos, you take 1 point of healing, as it's only 1 point for heavily or crit damage. So you are at crit 5, I do believe now.
Lads,
All right. So I think we can dust off this mission then. I still have one thing I want to do with Manos before we move on to the extra thing, but I think we can declare this mission over with for now. So I think it's time for some XP and possibly renown as well.
which one of those 3 was Vlad's?
Well, it's entirely up to you, I think. So there is a lot there. I think the lowest one was 6 points of health, and it just goes up from there. All right, so all of you get 2,250 EXP for the mission, because third session we have done this, and you have all been running dual characters. So the plus 250 that I promised. Which, if the total I have written down somewhere is correct, and that should be able to put you over to rank 2.
Yeah, the total XP I've got at 15,700.
Hopefully the math is right on that one, because apparently I don't know how to use a calculator. All right. So I do believe that's correct. So so take 18,000, subtract that from what you currently have, and then that's how much you have to spend. All right. Is the math looking solid so far?
I had 100 more on each of my characters than that, but I'll just take 100 off.
I actually had about 2,000 less than that number on mine.
Damn, guys. And I thought I was the one that was bad at math.
I was like a C, B student in math, not gonna lie.
All right. So I'm looking at the mission briefing right now, and from what I can see, because you didn't complete all of your primary objectives, you did not complete all of your secondary objectives, and you did not complete any tertiary objectives because there were none. You apparently don't get any renown for this mission because it is considered a failure as you fulfilled none of the parameters.
Honestly, I'm just happy we lived.
Yeah, shit got dicey there for a moment, but you somehow managed to squeeze out a survival out of this one.
At what XP point does rank 2 start? Is it 16,000?
17,000. So basically, when you have 1699, 999 spent, and essentially 1700, that's 17,000, that's when you can start looking at rank 2. And yeah, as you step into the room, you see hostess is standing there by the end of the table, waiting for all of you. And yeah, he gives you all a nod of acknowledgement as you step in. And he, as you either sit down or stand, it's whatever you feel comfortable with. He taps a couple of keys on the table, panel set in the table, and the whole lift sparks into life. And yeah, you see a planet. Up here in the, what would that be, like top left, named Crocus 4. And you see it on the hololive. It's tiny planet compared to some of the others you have seen orbiting around a fairly large planet that seems to be uninhabited for whatever reason. And hostess, as you all take your places, he says, "This is our new mission on Crocus 4. We're supposed to help the Inquisitor investigate some sort of disturbance in one of the quarries." And he taps a couple of keys on on the table again, and all of you receive the mission file, mission brief in front of you on the small display panels set in the table. And you should have the handout right now in the current mission tab. And yeah, as you all take a look at it, he looks at all of you and says, "Any questions?"
So Alfheim, he raises his hand and asks, "What information do we have on the threat? Do we have anything at all?"
From where we are right now, we have no information. If there is anything uncovered by the ground forces there, we will know once we get there. But right now, nothing has been conveyed to us through the astropathic means.
How long has the quarry been disrupted? Is it recent or more long term?
From what I can tell, from what the Inquisitor have told me, the mine has been disrupted for roughly a month. When the report first came in, how long it's been in real time is unknown to us at this time. But considering the importance of this particular quarry, it would be very unlikely that attempts to recapture it and resume operations would have been delayed for even a few hours. Which means that we are likely facing a fairly strong force inside, considering how important the location is and the resources that would have been spent to reclaim it.
I think that's the only question I can ask. I assume my character doesn't know this particular Inquisitor that we were working with before.
So the Inquisitor, so there is an Inquisitor on board named Sandria Trin, and she is the Inquisitor that you have been working with the entire time. Like your team has been assigned, or she has been assigned to your team, or vice versa, as the ship took off from the watch station that you were all stationed at earlier, and then went on this journey, on this patrol journey.
Okay. Yeah, so I wouldn't have to ask any questions along those lines.
Yeah, and from the mission brief, like it seems that the Inquisitor, because of the first primary objective there, it seems that the Inquisitor is going to tag along planet side. So any potential information that comes up during the mission, chances are he will be like within arm's length to actually ask the Inquisitor herself as the information comes in. Could there be anything new?
We know what environmental conditions are like in the mine.
From the reports, it would be working conditions for a space marine, maybe uncomfortable for a normal human. And this is something like you notice, like the miscellaneous information scrolls on the side of the hololith as the center of it rotates the planet and pinpoints the insertion points and uh, where the core is located in relation to everything else. And you just have these like miscellaneous information scrolling on the sides of that. But seeing as from the information currently available to the Inquisitor and the kill team, it's fully operational quarry with human and servitor staff, like indentured human staff and servitor. So it would have to be, uh, breathable human, living condition in there. Could be uncomfortably hot or uncomfortably cold, but humans would still be able to survive inside. And he says, if there's nothing further, we will reach planet side in 13 days. So prepare yourselves, arm yourselves, and pray to the God Emperor for guidance. And good luck, brothers, he says, and gives all of you a nod as he walks out. So that's the mission brief, as far as you know, as far as you can tell right now. And graphic, the Diablodon that you captured, group effort, it seems to be sedated right now, and there seems to be an awful, as you went into the area where it's kept, and there seems to be a excess amount of blood stains on the ground, as either the handlers have been a bit careless or it's just been feeding it something that was extra raw. But it seems to be alive and kicking.
They better not be careless. Otherwise, their blood's going to be on the floor, too.
But yeah, it's penned in one of the cargo holds, like they have like bolted adamantine prison bars, like a penned in area for it, like welded and bolted to the floor to keep it inside. And they just toss chunks of meat over the fence for it to eat, or through the bars.
Is there enough time for me to try and do any training with it, or
I mean, this happens. Like I said, there's a couple of weeks, like enough weeks from the one planet to the other to fully heal up, and then there is 13 days from when you enter into real space into the system to when you reach the planet. So any point during those few months or weeks or months, and plus the extra 2 weeks it takes to move in real space, you have some time if you want to do anything.
I was going to say, how does it react to seeing the person who almost killed it?
Cold-blooded fury first. Yeah, as you step into the room and look at it, like lifts his head, smells the air, turns his head at you, and then charges at the bars. And you see there's a bright flash of electricity as it, gets shocked back from it, but it's snarling and howling, and it seems to be really angry, staring right at you.
Can I feed it?
Yeah, sure. There is a large pile of meaty chunks or bloody chunks on the floor nearby in a pile.
He's gonna eat your hand.
I didn't say I was going to hand feed it.
But yeah, you can take some time, feed it if you want. And there's probably like an adamantine pole or something, like you spear the meat on, and then you just hold it out to the creature like through the bars. So you don't have to risk getting your arms gnawed off.
I was going to say, I just spent all that time healing. I don't need to get her right before a mission.
I mean, cybernetic arms are pretty cool.
Wouldn't be the first time I got one.
But yeah, you spend some time feeding it, and yeah, it eats. Like it eats pretty much any meat you feed it, but it still seems to be almost incandescent with fury whenever you're around it. So it's
It'll
basically
get over it.
yeah, it's basically rage chewing its food, looking at you all the time.
It's going to learn to love me.
And yeah, every time it gets like starts pressing up against the bars, it gets a shock, a fairly potent, shock of electricity, and it just jolts backwards.
I guess, too, since we have a lot of time, I'll probably try and find out. Because there were some villages that revered them. So I guess I'll try and find out from stories what exactly they like. Maybe if I bring it something the species generally likes, maybe that'll ease some of the tension.
All right. Yeah, so you're trying to befriend it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would normally say -10 Forbidden Lore Xenos, but you have the Tech Priest and the Magos Biologists. There's a whole bunch of them, and there's a couple of savants as well on the ship, so they can probably help you research. So I'll give you a +10 on that, so a +0 total.
To Forbidden
Lore
Xeno.
Xenos. Yeah. And the
Damn.
-10, yeah, the -10 base is because it's not one of the major, like it's a minor pieces of Xenos uh, located on a couple of worlds, like they're not spread everywhere. So that's why it's -10 to start with. And let's see. Oh, yeah. So right now, at least, it seems, yeah, you can't really figure out, find any good reference, or if there is anything that specifically it likes. But yeah, you can always try again later.
Safuriel suggests perhaps behavioral modification through cybernetics.
Robot dinosaurs.
Yeah, a cortex implant would work with that. I mean, that's pretty much how you control the Grox, which is the main cattle of the Imperium. Like you have them either chemically or bionically lobotomized, so they become a bit more docile, even though they're still extremely hostile to everything. even their own shadows. But yeah, I think it's time, unless anyone has any other interactions they want to do, that it's time to pick out some gear for the new mission.
Considering we'll be operating underground inside a mine, Safurio would suggest overly cautious about using high explosives.
Yeah, I'll have to redo some of mine.
So you're telling me I shouldn't just load up on melt-the-bombs again?
Unless you want to risk being buried under a few tons of rock.
I mean, if we get caved in, we all got breaching augers.
Yeah, you know, melt a bomb the place, breaching auger your way out. Why not just breaching auger the place?
Make our own tunnels.
Exactly.
Playing Minecraft and Deathwatch.
Oh
Just
god.
don't dig
no.
straight down.
I am genuinely speechless at this fucking crazy ideas.
Why? Why would you think we have any good ideas is the real question.
Because Minecraft in Deathwatch, damn it.
Yeah, it's a great idea, isn't it?
Let's carry buckets of water.
We just kill everything with lava. God damn.
I am speechless, honestly. But yeah, pick out your gear. You have
Oh god.
acquisition points.
58 points, right? Everybody, please take a teleport beacon at least with one of your characters.
Yeah, I'll take one.
Thank you. I do appreciate that.
Well,
Where's-
yeah, they should still work underground, right?
Sorry, what did you say now?
I was just saying dimensions will be deep underground, so chances of resupply and reinforcements will be limited. Would
Yeah.
beacons even work then?
Yeah, under normal, like, rock and under normal environmental conditions, like a beacon would work. But if you pass through something like, yes, something that has a void shield, like, a hive, for example, like a hive spire, like that, then you would have to remove the void shield first before you can teleport in and out.
How much was it? Siege specs? Traffic? Do you remember?
I didn't have one.
Oh, you had one?
All I had were melt-the-bombs.
How did those work out for you?
Didn't even get to use one.
Exactly.
I was going to use one, but everybody was like, no, use the teleport.
And melt the bombs are what, 20 or 25?
Just go and throw it out there that the Sacred Dungeons, 20.
Okay, I don't have
I know
enough.
how much you like those.
Alright, I am ready.
I've got a siege aspects, but I brought it.
So Hellforge, do we have a Tech Marine with us with Sacred Oils?
I mean, you would have to ask the one who's playing the Tech Marine as a backup.
Who's playing Tech Marine?
I am.
Oh, DS Sacred Oils that you don't use?
Not on me right now.
I mean, I bought some because I had a feeling that probably nobody had some.
I mean, since I always get melt-the-bombs, since I never know what else I want, I can get some for you.
No, I got some. I had enough. It's just I wasn't sure if he already had some because I would have just swapped it out for a melt bomb. So that's why I was asking because they're both about the same price.
Yeah, so Sacred Unguents is 20.
Yeah, and spell to bomb is 20.
Yep. No, actually, melter bombs are 25.
Yeah, 5. Okay, but
I mean, it makes all the difference when you think about it.
okay.
And the teleporter is 10.
Mm-hmm. I always bring a teleporter from now on. More than one if I have money for it.
You guys think I should get a Locust Seeker?
What does that do? What's a locust seeker do? Does it seek locust, or is it full of locusts that seek you?
Although actually, I don't know how well these would work in a mine. Or if I could use it the way I was.
Yeah, you basically, as far as I can tell at least, you place the transmitter on an object, and then the receiver, you can basically use that to track the transmitter anywhere you are within like a couple of light years or from you. So it wouldn't really work the way you think. Yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, we could place it up, like hide it at the entrance to the mine. Then we'd be able to get back out easy.
I
So we
think
don't
you
get lost.
I would have to look, but I think you already have something like that in your armor by default. Otherwise, it's the cartograph or whatever the hell it's called. It gets 5 requisition. On page 175, it's basically specialized data slate accept geographical and navigational information on a planet. So it basically, if you have those attached to your belt, you can just walk around and it will automatically like track your steps.
Sorry about that.
And it also has a small holo projector that can display a 3-dimensional map. So if you're going in, descending somewhere, you can get back up again.
Right back.
All right.
Might actually just get a bunch of stummers. Or at least get 3 of them. So by the time the third one runs out, the first one's able to be used again since they have a 1-hour cooldown.
Yeah, that could work. If, of course, someone is actually listening for footsteps.
The stummers, they'll never know.
Through that.
I mean, they're only 5 each. 2.
Yeah, we could take a quick break here. We wait for Nash to come back. If you need a
I'm back.
second. All right. Damn it.
Well, you know,
Well,
break it.
let's get on with it, shall we? If we all here.
Yep.
Fair warning: someone might come over in about an hour, and I might have to go. But it's not set in stone.
All right. I mean, if you haven't died by then I'll be surprised.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me get some more drink.
You're welcome. I mean, we're talking about all of you using high explosives in a very confined space, after all.
I'd like to point out that I did actually still get melt the bomb.
Case and point. At least it's not Shadowrun rules for grenades, which is good.
I'm actually gonna get a cup of coffee real quick.
All right, let's take a break then. A quick break.
I mean, I didn't know what else to get, and I still had points. So why not go for a melt bomb, right?
Do that. There is actually a couple of other things you can spend requisition on.
Lies. Melt the bombs all the way. Don't listen to him. Trying to trick you.
Of course,
I'm sorry.
Just like the prophet was trying to do.
yeah, it's true. Just sprinkling some of that half truths and quarter visions right there. Good measure. Problem with having literally all books open at the same time is that it makes it a bit of a headache to actually find what you're looking for. Oh yeah, here it is. I think I found it. So on page 212 in Rites of Battle, you have some additional things you can spend requisition on.
212 the core book?
Rights of
No,
battle.
in Rites of Battle.
Requisition.
Yep.
Oh, if we weren't in a mine, you can get high altitude bombing run. Oh no, we need respected for that.
Yeah, and you're already using the Aquila lander to get to
Yeah.
the planet, so you don't have to worry about that. So unless otherwise noted, it's basically insertion and extraction are covered without having to ask for that or spend any points for that. But the rest of it is, all up in there.
Eyes and ears from the Inquisitional assets might be nice if we were ever doing a mission in like a big place.
Yeah, and if you need anyone interrogated, they have that covered as well.
Hey, we can bring along a heavy weapons company.
Oh god. The amount of bullshit I would have to deal with is unreal.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back. So how do we feel about artillery strikes, artillery support inside a mine?
Very difficult.
The same about using a melted bomb in a mine.
Yes, but there's very big difference between a melta bomb and an earthshaker artillery piece. So I can imagine getting it inside would be a bit of a hassle. I mean, artillery strike would only be like 5d10 plus degrees of success. So it wouldn't be that bad, honestly. I think melta bomb might actually be better. Alright, have we all figured out your gear?
Yep, I got my gear. I've also got 12 points left over if someone wants to put a homing beacon on one of their guys.
So far, I've got teleporter, 4 stunners, 2 screamers, and a melted bomb.
Sounds like you're ready to rock and roll with that. What's the effective range of a stammer?
That doesn't say. It just says it has 20 minutes of continuous use before needing to be recharged for an hour, plus 30 to silent move. And as far as range, it just says in a small area.
Alright. Yeah, that doesn't really say anything. Yeah, so maybe like, I don't know, what would be a small? Like 10 meters maybe?
Alright, sorry about that. I had to deal with my dad getting scammed for a subscription he didn't really want.
No worries. It happens.
It shouldn't. It should not.
I'm actually going to get some more stunners. We can have multiple ones going at the same time to cover the entire group at once.
Did I miss anything? Or are we good?
I think we're just getting our gear sorted out.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm quickly squiggling a battle map because, I forgot to do that last time. Alright, are you all done with your gear selection then?
Yep.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah, so I think... Let's see if I'm on the right tab. Yeah, so I think after you swing by the armory to pick up your stuff on the 13th day, on the eve of the 14th, you gather in the armory to assemble your gear. And then from there, you have it shipped to the embarkation deck with the servitors and the menial crew. And you stride towards the chapter to see Chaplain Gerhardt to swear the oath and select a leader who will lead you through this coming encounter. So yeah, who do you want to lead this supposed mission?
Who likes deep in caves?
Safario can if nobody else can.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
You guys remember last time I was in charge? Ended up fighting Chaos Sorcerer. Are you sure about that?
I mean, was that really your fault?
Yes.
Yes. All right, good. I'm glad we all agree.
Personally, I'd say it was a group effort, but what do I know?
Why blame it on the group when you can blame it on one person?
I mean, I can't argue with logic like that, even if it comes from a traitor. What? It's true. Just check. Just read about Dark Angels. They are true traitors across the board.
Why am I a traitor?
Dark Angels.
I'm an angel of vengeance, though. I'm
Oh,
here
Dark
to
Angel.
avenge.
You're one of the unforgiven.
All right. All the fun stuff aside, I'm just trying to figure out where the hell the thing is. Mission. There it is. Apparently, I cannot remember page numbers anymore. All right, so we have a supposed tech marine in charge of the mission, which means
Oh,
that you
good.
have some ops. Just trying to find the damn thing.
Tech marines are supposed to be smart.
I mean, say that.
I said supposed to be. Did not say they are necessarily.
All right, you have briefing. You have selected a leader. Yeah, now it's the oath taking. So you have some oaths available to you. So which one do you want to have for this one? On
What do we
page
have?
213, the core.
I seem to remember we only had 2 to choose from anyway, but I can't remember if that was because of my limitations or what.
Yeah, the only one we can take with me or with Safario in charge is the Oath of the Weapon. He's got the Tech Marine prerequisite. Only one.
Hold on, there is another one as well in the errata. I'm trying to look for it right now. Because I know they added something for Tech Marines. Just scrolling through this like super slow PDF. Yeah,
That
so
would benefit more jams.
yeah, so you can take over knowledge as well. That one is Tech Marine.
So what was that in the?
230 in the core book. So right now, from the looks of it, you have the Ofa weapon and Ofa knowledge with Tech Marines. As far as I can tell. So one of the two there. So the Ofa knowledge is really good for librarians to reroll psychic phenomena. But the Ofa weapons, like you ignore jams, reroll tests to confirm righteous fury without spending a fate point, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think we'll go with both of the weapons.
All right.
Oath of knowledge would be good if we knew who weapon. Completely eliminates half of them.
Yeah, that's very true as well.
So we'll go with oath of the weapon.
All right. All right. Yeah, so you're packed into as you swear the oath before Chaplain Gerhardt in the chapel, and it leads you all in a rousing sermon to strengthen your resolve to see this mission through. You are then led through the grand halls of the ethereal spectre to the embarkation room, where you see the two Aquila landers placed in their berths, going through pre-launch procedures, engines roaring, and you see the servitor crew and the menials preparing all your gear, all the landers. And as you walk up the ramp, you have all the gear stowed in place, so you just sit down and strap yourselves in. And the Aquila lander you're in right now, and the cargo compartment of it is modified to fit all of you and your bulkier than usual selves and equipment. And yeah, the other one, as you walk up the ramp, you see the other one has Hostus and the Inquisitors team walking up the ramp. And yeah, it's the Inquisitor herself, and then 5 other humans, or 4 other humans and 1 tech priest, depending on how you want to classify those. Yeah, you all sit down, get strapped in, do a final launch check before you feel the thrumming of the engines power up, and then get launched out through the docks, out through the tubes, and you're for a moment in a hanging out in space. And as you look out through the viewport, you see the ethereal specter shrink behind you, and the planet coming closer at an uncomfortable speed. And you have in the cabin where you're sitting, you have in the ceiling a small display that counts down, and you see the trajectory of it, and you have roughly 20 minutes or so of flight time before you set down on the pads, if you want to do or say anything now, when the Inquisitor herself isn't within hearing distance.
No, Oreo and Alfie are pretty much silent the entire the entire ride down.
All right. And yeah, you feel as the ship hits the upper atmosphere, you feel the turbulence start, jostling the ships around before it evens out, stabilizes out, and the rest of the journey through the planet's atmosphere, remains a comfortably smooth one as the pilots fly the shuttles down and land at the starport on their designated areas. And yeah, as the ship sets down heavily on the pad, your restraints are removed from you, and the ramp starts lowering, and yeah, you are now on the planet itself. And as you step out onto the permacrete of the starport, you see there are 3 shuttles there in landed information. One with Hostus and the Inquisitor's team, and then Hostus' team comes out from the third one. So you have some backup here. And I'm asking out of character now because I honestly don't recall myself, but have I actually detailed the Inquisitor herself at some point? Have you actually seen her in play?
I
How
have.
she
I don't think so.
No. No, I haven't.
all right. Yeah, because I honestly can't remember. But yeah, as you all step out and you look around, you see that there's 4 humans plus the Inquisitor and the Tech Marine, or sorry, Tech Priest, not the Tech Marine, is with you. And the woman who wears the black trench coat and the black leather pants with high neck boots, almost knee high. She's about like did I say before, like 152. Which is roughly like 4.9 something feet. So she is fairly tall, and considering Space Marines are a bit more than 2 meters. So yeah, there is a pretty significant height difference there. But yeah, she proudly displays the rosette of her office, and yeah, the humans around her form up information, and she gestures to all of you to follow her as she starts walking towards the side entrance to the starport. And yeah, the planet itself, now that you're actually on here, the atmosphere is somewhat polluted, and it's fairly cold. Not biting cold, but definitely like chilly. If you want, for the fact that you're Space Marines and give a damn about that. And it's currently clear skies. The sun, like afternoon sun, is shining, so it's probably gonna be night soon. But you have dark vision with your helmet, so don't have to worry about that. And yeah, now that you're, like I said, on the planet itself, you have some more accurate information about it. If you had any questions from before about any miscellaneous like planetary details, like that would have been updated now to your data slate. But yeah, as you're all walking towards the entrance to the starport from the berths where the Aquila is parked, and you hear over all channel, over the general channel, the Inquisitor call. That's a road call. Make sure that everyone, a Vox check to make sure that everyone has a working connection. And then she says, "We will first." We will first take the train from here to Ember City, where myself and my group, my team will investigate some of the leads we have there, while you wait in the lower spire for us, or in the lower court, rather. And then from there we will journey through the tunnels into the quarry itself. We shall investigate what's going on there. We just need some information before we leave, and clear passage there. If you have any questions, now would be the time before we meet any civilians. And yeah, unless any one of you ask anything, the tech breed starts.
What's
You
the overall tech level of this world?
I think standard Imperial, not as fancy as something like Holy Terra or Mars, for example, but it's definitely like you know good stuff. Like good, the general level from what you can see seems to be like a generally good craftsmanship across the board. And from the details, like miscellaneous info you have, it seems to be a fairly prosperous mining outpost run by the Emberhold rogue trader dynasty. Actually, can you make me a lore Imperium skill and see if you know any more miscellaneous details about this? Yeah, so what you know just by the briefing and maybe from memory, like you read something in passing. So the general standard of living on this planet is better than most because the rogue trader uh, values the investment they have put into here, and it's the production output is substantial. So there's a lot of money going into the place, but the return is even greater. And it's mainly like rare earth and rare minerals they collect from the mines. And yeah, as you walk, like you pass through the entrance hall to into the starport itself, and yeah, it seems to be pretty much cleared of civilians. You see a couple of Arbites giving you like a surprised and terrified look as you pass the cordoned off sections. But there is no civilian casting you or gawking at you as you pass. And yeah, you go through a side entrance and you take a long staircase down. And yeah, you arrive as the floor planes evens out again, and you exit the staircase. You are on a platform, a large train platform underneath the station or starport, where a large freight train is waiting for you all. And you hear the Inquisitor's voice say, Marines take car 5, the rest will take car 4. And this train will take us to the upper hive, or upper spire of the hive city. And you see them like turn away and start going towards car 4, while your group and Hostus team start climbing up in car 5. And yeah, as you enter and start making yourself comfortable, you see inside the car you have like enlarged seats, so and gear racks, so you can sit comfortably rather than have to sit on the floor or maglock yourself to the floor and stand. So there are some accommodations for someone of as bulky as a space marine in armor.
Lucifer will take full advantage of the
It's by no means opulent. It's basically a converted cargo freight cart that I have added like seatings for seating and gearing arrangement for Space Marine. And yeah, as you all get in and close the doors behind you, the train starts moving, and yeah, it slowly starts picking up speed, and then goes like the speed itself just increases exponentially until it reaches a maximum speed. And yeah, there is a couple of view slits, and you see like you get some light, like the artificial lights from the looming globes outside as it travels through the tunnel. And yeah, the Inquisitor says over the general channel again that you'll arrive in the upper spire in roughly 4 hours. And then from after that, unless you reach out and ask anything, or make a comment or demand or requesting her attention, she keeps vox silence with all of you and mainly talks to her own team.
All right, yeah, I'll keep an eye on my surroundings as we're where exactly are we? What sort of area are we in right now?
So you're in a closed train cart, freight, like big boxy freight cart with like open ventilation slits on top, like by the just underneath the ceiling. So you can see the artificial light from the tunnel stream in there, and you hear the wind whistle through the gaps as the train is going at optimal speed. But yeah, from what you can tell, it seems to be some sort of permacrete tunnel that you're traveling through.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll. There's not too much to keep a watch out for then. So, but I'll still wait for any. I'll pay attention in case something happens.
All right. Yeah, there is a door at the front and the back of the cart. If you want to like go between the different cars, and there is the like large sliding door that you climb through to get inside as well to load and unload the cargo. So that's pretty much the surrounding, and it's they have looming globes set up in the car, so you have like full visibility if you were to take off your helmet. And the Inquisitor and her team is in the cart in front of you. And there, like I said, there is a door at the front and the back, so you can go travel between them if you need to, or if you want to. But yeah, roughly maybe 3 or so hours later, you feel the train start. First of all, you notice that there is a very distinct change in pressure as the train enters a large cavernous area, and then from there you feel the train start slowing down a bit, like gradually slow down, and you hear the Inquisitor's voice again for the first time in 3 hours or so, and she says, "We will disembark here. Stay in the cart until we transfer to the new train. Just stay out of sight so they don't see you."
Affirmative.
And as the train comes to a complete stop, and now you see outside, you look and you see the reinforced glass steel structure, like of an artificially domed ceiling above you, and you hear like the mechanical rattlings of hydraulics, um, some sort of like crane mechanics, and you hear like winches and pulleys being used as large thick wire are being dragged across something. And you feel the train cart itself start jostling a bit, and yeah, eventually you feel it like being you hear something heavy attached to the roof of it, and you feel the cart itself being lifted up and gently like swaying with the motion of the crane, and you feel the cart itself being moved, and you hear the servo engines of the crane as it's moving the cart to another train track. And you can see as you look up, you have the gantries above you. You can see those in the ventilation slits on the ceiling. And yeah, eventually the train cart is put down on the rails again. And yeah, you can also see like through the small window at the doors of each end that train cart you're in has been traveling through the air with wires being lifted to another train track. And yeah, unless you want to do anything or react to this in any way, some time is going to pass until the Inquisitor comes back within box range. All right, so looking at your chronos, and you all have synchronized them, maybe 40 or so minutes later, you hear the latches of the locking mechanics on the large freight door being disabled, and then you hear how the door is pulled backwards, to open, and you have a sharp artificial light shining through the door. Uh, Obviously, you all have a helmet, so you're not blinded or anything. Like, it's mildly uncomfortable at best. But you have outside, you see you're like in a secluded section of a train station somewhere, and you have the Inquisitor's team climbs aboard after a couple of servitors start loading up the gear that they're bringing on to the train cart, and you have a couple of them, maybe 2 or 3 of them, plus the tech priest, climb into the cargo compartment with you to inspect the cargo. And you all hear the Inquisitor's voice again, saying over general comms, everything is prepared. So unless you have anything pressing to do before we start, then we can begin our descent into the mines.
All right, let's begin then.
All right. Yeah, so the cargo servitors that have been loading up the freight freight wagon with you, one of them turns around, closes the door, and then stands motionless, maglocked to the floor inside. So currently you have a couple of large crates inside the cargo compartment with you, and then 2 monotask heavy labor servitors, and then the tech priest plus 2 of the Inquisitor's associates, opening and unpacking the crates. And all of you feel how the train cart starts rolling at first slowly, and then gradually picking up speed again. And yeah, as the journey progresses, the team is unboxing the crates. Are you helping at all, or are you just sitting still looking at it, or deep in prayers and contemplation?
Vlad will help out.
I'm not gonna help.
All right. Yeah, so Vlad, you walk over, and yeah, you see as you help unload the crates, there are 2 human appropriate sized scout bikes with some like expanded Auspex gear on it, and both of them have twin linked heavy bolters in front mounted. And yeah, once those are unpacked, one of the Inquisitor's team, a man, youngish, maybe 30 or so standard, you know, fairly scarred, um, brutal looking, brutish looking, fairly muscular. He looks at all of you, or Vlad, because you're the one helping, and he says, "We can't run as fast as you, even as fast as you're walking, or probably. So we need some mechanical help to keep up with you down there. That and the Auspex gonna be a big help trying to figure out what's going on down there." And of course, if we get into any trouble and he pats one of the heavy bolters mounted on the front of it, then we have some extra firepowers with these. And yeah, so that's what he says to you, Vlad. And yeah, after they finish unpacking and just preparing it, strapping it down so that it doesn't move around. Yeah, the two of them leave. The two men leaves, and the tech priest is standing there and basically spend the entire rest of the journey sanctifying the blessed machine spirit within through prayers and rituals and burning some incense and applying the sacred unguents to the machines and the weapons. All right, so I think maybe would it be? Yeah, so I think maybe like an hour and a half into the journey from the upper spire, and the train is going significantly faster as than the first one, and you're also, although you can feel it's a fairly at times it's a fairly steep uh, downward angle you're traveling in, which means that the train is even faster. And yeah, I think around 1.5 hours into it, maybe 1:40 on the mission clock, um, the train levels out again from a fairly steep decline into a straight path, and the Inquisitor's voice in your ears again says that we should be there in less than half an hour. Prepare yourselves. We don't know what. We still haven't gotten any information on what could possibly be down here. And yeah, she closes her comm, but you hear the tech priest still standing there, chanting, burning incense, sanctifying the quad bikes. And yeah, he's doing all of this in binary can. So Zafriel, you understand this perfectly. Like you know exactly the rites and the hymns he's chanting. And I think, yeah, so as the train levels out and travels for a couple of minutes, you hear this very sharp, loud, explosive sound, and all of you feel how reality itself turns upside down. And there is a massive, deafening sound of the train smashing into something and then smashing into the permacrete walls. And I need all of you to roll me a -10 agility.
I didn't do it this time.
Well, you say that.
Maybe I did, -10 agility.
Yeah,
Do
-10
we
agility.
get our agility bonus from our gear?
Everything is included with this rule.
All right. Oops.
Right, so all of you, regardless of success and fail, take 30 points of damage, reduced by armor and toughness.
Oh, good.
And all of those who failed, which I do believe is everyone other than Oreo and Vlad, by the looks of it, remain standing as the train cart you're traveling in topples over to the side. And the train crash just keeps going and keep being bad for everyone. So this 40 points of damage are reduced by armor and toughness. So whatever left, and it's to the body as well, as you slam into the side of the cart, probably like chest first, leaving
Thank
some
you, Hellforge.
You're welcome. Leaving some fairly substantial dents in the glass steel. And so Mana succeeds. And Pariel falls face first. Yeah, so all of you who failed are considered prone right now. The rest remain standing. As reality turns on its side as the train cart flips over. And yeah, the train, and you hear a large amount of confused and disturbed shouting over the general channel on the Vox network. You can ignore that if you wish, or listen into it. It's entirely up to you. But yeah, the train cart you're traveling continues to move for maybe about like 15-20 meters before finally coming to a stop with a jolt. The tech priest is nowhere in sight. Probably crushed somewhere. Tech priest, crazy people. But yeah, from the sounds of it, at least you hear the Inquisitor is at least alive enough to complain. Plus, at least one of their party as well.
So the 5d10, was that from fall damage?
Yeah, that was fall and impact damage as the train cart, flips over.
Would my catfall talent be useful in that
Oh
case?
yeah, absolutely. Catfall would reduce that, and so anyone who has it take reduced damage by however much.
How did you get Catfall?
I'm an assault marine.
Okay then.
Yeah, submarines get it.
I unfortunately don't have that. And I know I cannot get it apparently.
Of course you can.
That was worth an ask.
Catfall reduce. I didn't have it.
I know you can get it, I just don't recall when you get it. Which is a bit unfortunate. I'm sure you get it at some point, and you can always pick it up as a Heat Advance. So there are ways and means to get it. But yeah, all of you, after reducing that from armor and toughness, that's the damage you take as the train cart topples over and keeps sliding it for a bit. And you all get tumble and jostle around. And yeah, most of you remain or fall over and doesn't immediately manage to stand up as the train cart itself comes to a stop. And like I said, over the Vox network, you hear at least the Inquisitor and one other talk, wondering what the hell is going on. And yeah, after everything comes to a stop, you manage to stand up, and the cart itself that you're in is mostly intact. It's bent and buckled in places, but all of you seems to be fairly unharmed, all things considered. There is a couple of things that are a couple of pieces of gear here and there strewn about, but it's no issue for you to collect yourselves and the gear you have. And you see the two scout bikes are maglocked to the floor, so they are basically hanging 90 degrees from the current wall that used to be the floor. So those could be a bit of a health hazard if anyone decides to stand under them when the maglocks disengage. Can all of you give me a, let's say, a +0 awareness, fight based? Doesn't
Okay.
matter if you fail, so you don't have to spend any fate points if you don't want to. Just to see if you notice anything.
Oh, I just realized that first aid only takes 6 seconds. It just takes a full round. So if you guys want me to heal you in the near future, we can try that.
Yeah, but then we can't really heal for the rest of the time.
For the next 24 hours now.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as long as you're lightly injured, I can heal you for 12, almost guaranteed, because
That's nice.
I have more than a 100% chance of success.
Nice. All right, I might think about that.
Also, depending on how much longer it goes, if right before it ends, you can use your fate points to heal.
That's true.
All right. So all of you who succeeds, which apparently is almost everyone, you
Surprisingly.
receive. Yes, I mean I'm genuinely surprised by these rolls today. But yeah, you see the tech priest at the far back towards where the Inquisitor's cart were. He seems to be alive. His mechadendrites are wiggling in a disturbing fashion. But yeah, you see a fairly substantial piece of rebar has pierced his chest. So he seems to be critically wounded, but somehow still alive. And yeah, you also notice that with those degrees of success, you also notice that outside in the tunnel it's pitch black, whereas before when you were traveling they had the looming globes artificially lighting the tunnel for you as you were traveling. But right now outside it's pitch black.
Seth will go tech priest and see if he can help his fellow worshiper of the Amistad.
All right. Yeah, can you give me a strength roll to see if you can just yank him out of there without killing him? All right. Yeah, you grab him as gingerly as you can, and start pulling him from the rebar that's impaling him. But yeah, he's either stuck on something. Maybe it's something that's pierced and fused with the rebar itself from his internal structure, Or maybe it's just something that's been caught on a jagged edge of the rebar, but he seems to be fairly stuck in place.
Can I cut the rebar so we can at least stand up if it's still inside him?
Yeah, sure. You can take a swipe at it. You don't have to roll to hit, just roll damage. See if you manage to cleave it in one sweep or takes two. Yeah, without any effort, you expertly cleave the rebar just in front of his chest without actually cutting him. And yeah, you manage to separate maybe like 2 feet of rebar that's sticking out from his chest. So now you can easily just yank him out. Yeah, you lift him up, put him down gingerly from the place, and you see there is a fairly potent amount of blood and machine oil that's covering the rebar and the ground where just underneath. And yeah, he mutters thanks in binary to you as he notices your machine opus on your chest and servo arm on your attached to your arm.
Seth will call Alfie over and see what he can do about his order.
Yeah, so if you want to save the tech priest, it's a straight Medicaid roll for this first aid test.
All right, I can do that. The tech priest, is he a space marine or a human?
He's a human.
All right. So if he's crit damage, it'll only be, I think it's only 1 point.
Yeah, but it's one more than I had before, so yeah, he still looks a lot worse for wear, but you know, it's not immediately dying, at least from anything critical inside. And yeah, he makes a noise that you have heard Saphriel make before when he has been communing with machines, but you have no idea what it means or if it actually means anything. All right. So yeah, you managed to collect all your stuff again. Sorry, I was drawing the map. See if I can figure this out as I go. Okay, you managed to grab all your stuff. You managed to free the tech priest from almost certain death. And yeah, over the box again, you hear the Inquisitor's team calling out to each other, making sure everyone's okay. And yeah, you see from looking through the door, like the view slit in the door, you see in the other cart, it's the one in front. It seems to be like equal carnage and destruction inside. And the ceiling on the part you're in has been ripped apart in one of the corners. So you have like full access, or at least an easier way out than to breach auger your way through the floor or the wall, I suppose, that just became the wall. So yeah, what do you want to do now in this train wreck? Quite literal train wreck.
Hop out and secure the area.
Yeah, while Alfie is working on the tech priest, Oreo is going to look around the area and see what sort of entry points we're looking at.
Both Cass and Samael are gonna secure the train, secure anybody else, look for more survivors and all that. See if I can find out what caused it. But I'll make sure secure the train. Well, whatever's left of it.
All right. Yeah. So as you all climb out, or those who climb out, you see just like a normal, if there is such a thing as a normal train wreck, but every car has toppled over, and the engine in front has the whole train has basically toppled over and it's laying in a zigzag shape basically across the tracks. Some cars are pushed up against the wall, the tunnel wall, so you can climb underneath.
So yeah. So if that's the case, then I'm gonna go check on the Marines and all that as well, because they were a different car, right?
Yeah, they were in the car behind you, and they seem to be fine as they report again, they check in with you.
All right. Sounds good then.
Yeah, in front, towards the front, like the way the train was traveling, there are 4 parts upturned, plus the engine in front, and two cars behind that has been more or less demolished as well. Yeah, it's gonna take a bit of climbing to get out, unless you just want to breaching auger your way through, which gonna make a lot of noise. But yeah, those who are having a look, at least you see the Inquisitors team, most of them at least, climb out from their cart at the back towards you, at least. The Inquisitor herself has a couple of deep gashes in her head, but otherwise seems to be no worse for wear. And yet there is one of her team that doesn't emerge at all from the cart, and the rest of them, minus the tech priest, comes out with her. And yeah, she says, all of you hear her give the order to someone named Bones to scout up ahead. And he snaps a smart salute and starts climbing up across the wreckage and keeping away. And yeah, Bones is, all of you will know this, even though you may not be super familiar with it. He's a rattling, and as he's moving, you see him blend in unnaturally into the environment, like he's wearing some sort of camo cloak. And he has a visor over his eyes, quite possibly to give him night vision. And he's carrying a sniper rifle with some engravings in it, and a bullet belt slung across his chest.
I'm gonna let him do the scouting and still hang back, but I have presence, so I'm just sort of sweeping the area around me, looking for danger.
Right. Yeah, right now you're essentially in between two upturned cards. So the visibility is essentially limited to a few meters where in the gap where you're currently standing. So if you wanted like better vision, you would have to climb up on one of the cars to see ahead in the tunnel.
Yeah, I think I'll remain mainly with the rest of the group for now, if that's the case. Unless we want to move ahead.
See,
Sorry, what did you say? I didn't quite hear that.
Saf was going to see what he could see on his aspects, but I think
Yeah, so the aspects, it is essentially what you can see with your own eyes, like permacrete walls and the train like upturned, completely fucked up in most places. All right, so the Inquisitor, after maybe a couple of minutes, as you're still taking stock of your situation, the Inquisitor tells all of you, actually, no, you hear it over the general frequency, and you hear Bones report back that he has found a cavern that opens up from ahead of the tracks to the right side of the tracks. There is a large opening where probably be good enough to seek shelter. So nothing in case of a cave in. You can hang out there. But yeah, from the readings on the aspects, it doesn't seem to be any like structural damage to the walls other than very superficial. But yeah, so that's what you know right now. There is an opening up ahead to the right of you.
all right,
Fairly
let's move to
yeah. So you all start climbing over the tracks, or breaching all your way through to until you come at the front of the train. And can all of you give me, as you're passing, can all of you give me a actually no, it would be it would be like a plus 10 awareness plus whatever bonuses you have. See if you can notice it.
Plus 10 awareness.
Yeah, side-based awareness. Oh yeah, so quick question before we move any further, because I forgot to ask last time. Are you keeping in squad or solo mode, or do you want to enter squad mode for this, or for
stay
this
in
journey
solo mode.
rather?
Yeah, we'll stay in solo mode for right now.
Yep, sounds good. If you want right now, because it's almost time to wrap it up anyway, we can give you an opportunity to draw, or at least prepare a proper map if you want, Hellforge.
I mean, I think my squiggles are appropriate. All right, so place yourself in the order you're traveling, and also if I
I see a
suppose now
black
would be
screen.
the time. What?
If you scroll to the top.
Oh. Okay, I'm good now.
Yeah, so now would be the time because we're almost on the hour. So now would be the time, as opposed to spend some fate points to heal up if you have any left.
Yeah, I'm gonna do.
And traffic, because I'll say this right, because that dream thingamajig was technically supposed to be last session. I'll give you a couple of temporary fate points if you want to use those for something. So let's say two temporary fate points for this.
Oh, well, I got fully healed before we came here, right?
Yeah.
Alright. I didn't take any damage from the crash, so I should be good. I just didn't change my health back.
All right. Yeah, I was wondering because your token was at 0. All right. Yeah, place yourselves into formation. And yeah, as you're walking forward during this, you see, you see the rattling scout up ahead of you, and he like waves to you and points like to the side in front of you. It's by no means a perfect reveal, but god damn it, I don't have the technology. But yeah, you see the outside wall there, and you see where it starts going into the cavernous thing that you mentioned. Yeah, what do you want to do?
What does the Inquisitor's group consist of?
In terms of what exactly?
Class, combat effectiveness.
So the Inquisitor herself has unknown combat capabilities. She mainly brought her savant, her scout, the tech priest, and then there is two people wearing carapace armor of some description, and some probably hell guns and some bolt pistols, and some sort of melee weapon as well. So they have essentially two fighters, one savant, one tech priest, and then one scout or sniper.
I guess unless someone else wants to do it, Oreo can scout ahead a little bit.
You want to take one of my stummers? Or are you not going to do a silent move?
What's the stummer?
Plus 30 to silent move test.
Yeah, it sounds like, unless you want to do it. I mean, I wasn't thinking of being sneaky, but if you want to sneak up ahead.
I took it mainly to like silence our footsteps when we're walking. Just in general, I don't think any of my guys have silent movement. That
Okay.
was trained.
Well, yeah. I mean, we can all proceed as a group. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, that might be not faster, but that might be safer overall.
Well, since Cass has the big guns, I feel is going to order him to take point with Porto.
To take point.
That way, if anything comes at us, you got a clear line of.
All right. Then I will be on, I guess, on guard or on overwatch as we're walking forward.
Well, one of those things are impossible if you're walking. So you will.
Yes, overwatch is impossible. I understand. So that's why I said on guard. But in the sense of if something comes at us, I want to. Cass also is paranoid, so he's always looking behind his. He's
Alright.
he's a little crazy.
Yes, you're currently jumping at shadows.
He's not scared. He's just cautious.
Alright, so move your tokens forward, and if you're advancing across the hallway. Alright, Oreo, as you are there, you see a bit more.
Can I just point out? Last time we were in a nice little hallway like this, somebody died. And then all of us died.
I mean, that was entirely on your call for that.
You say that.
Right, so that's what you see, and the room, the far back wall continues slanting downwards.
Alright, so I take it we're basically leaving the tracks and going over into this area? Is that where we're supposed to be going?
No, it's yours. Yeah, or I didn't reveal this first. So that's the area to the top right there. That's the area you were traveling towards, right? And you're still a long way off from where you are. And what the scout said was that there is a cavern, some sort of cavern to the right of where you are right now, which is what he pointed out, and you're starting to advance.
Saf will vox the Inquisitor and ask if she wants to continue down the tunnel. Cavern.
Yeah, as you're moving into position, you get the response back. Yeah, scout up ahead. We need as much information as possible. I'll try to get my team in order back here. Alright, so as you're all moving, hang on there, Saf, before you move any further. Yeah, so as you're starting moving towards into the cavern, you see some sort of barricade have been placed a bit further in to the tunnel.
That looks like spaghetti.
Well,
I'm just joking.
I mean, last week it was bacon, so it's not outside the realm of possibilities.
It does look like pasta, little like pasta things
Looks
stuck
like
up.
sandbags to me.
Uh,
All right, and as that intense thought occurs to you, let's do the crazy thing. So don't touch anything. Let's have a look what happens.
oh, good.
That's not good.
Oh, they fired at us.
Auto cannon. Hurt.
All right, so Saphriel was the first one. So yeah, as you step out into the cavern or entrance of the cavern, you see the barricades, hastily formed barricades, and behind them, you see. Now that you're paying a bit more attention to it, you see the barrels of a whole heap of weapons lining the barricades, either on top of it or through it. And yeah, you start hearing the clattering of outer cannon fire as the waiting troops open fire on you. So that would be
Oh God.
miss on Saphriel. Sam hit. Oreo miss. Alf miss. Cass hit. Manus hit. Pyreal miss. So yeah, you can try to dodge this if you wish.
Yeah, I'll try and dodge him. Why not? Well, he didn't dodge. Neither of them dodged. Woohoo!
All right, let's see what kind of damage we have to deal with then. All right, so we have some damage unless anyone else want to try to dodge this. All right, now that we're in formation, let's do it properly this time. So from left to right, that is a lot of targets.
So Seth and Cass got hit first.
Yep.
Oh, good. All right, I'll do the math. 6 pen. It's a little bit of pen, huh?
Which one hit me?
Third one, I think. Alpha and Oreo get hit by the third or fourth, unless you dodge. Ooh. Okay. And
All right, so that was the heavy gunners. And I think now it's time for initiative.
So the crit was on me.
left to right, so Oreo and you were number 3. Oreo and Alpha were number 3 and 4, or whoever got hit. So, which one of your characters is there? Ariel? Oh no, you were the fourth one. Then I think you were 28, and 30 was either Alpha or Oreo, unless they both missed. Let's see. I have no idea how he did this. It's he's on Manos.
Yeah, I did. So there is 2 heavy gunners here, and both of them shot. The first one, and the second one that shot only landed a hit on Manos. The first damage here, because Safriel was the first one to step in. So he was the first one to get shot, and then he just went left. So yeah, from right to left in order, in staggered formation there. So Safriel, Oreo, Sam, Alf, Manos, Ariel, Cass.
Where did I get hit for? Which part?
On the first or the second attack?
Both. Like I said, I don't know where I got hit for how much out of all of them.
So the second one was 30. Yeah, so the second 30 damage there was to the body. Yeah, so both shots were to the body.
And the first one was 28.
Yeah, 22 damage on the first one.
Just like the last fight, I'm starting out at 0 wounds.
Hey, you're not crit, so you can heal up with your points. I would do that right now.
You have the 2 temporary fate points.
I would probably heal up
about those, otherwise I would probably reroll the dodge.
We can still reroll to dodge, I assume. Since you didn't know about, I don't know. It's all forged, I guess.
Too late.
Maybe too late.
Yeah, once I roll damage, then it's too late to dodge it.
Oh, okay. That's unfortunate.
No, because otherwise, I've had this happen before. When and let someone decide to dodge afterwards, and then suddenly, they take the attack, I'll
Oh,
just eat the attack, and then I roll fucking Righteous Fury, like, plus 20
Yeah,
damage
yeah,
on top of Righteous Fury, and they say, oh yeah, no, I'm gonna dodge that. Like that's bullshit.
Oops, that's I fucked up with that. Hold on.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
There we go.
All right. So we have some action going. So the situation is as follows. You are, as you walked into this mouth of the cavern next to the train tracks, you see, like on a slight uphill incline, you have barricades. And as more of you step through and make yourself visible, the twin outer cannons open fire on all of you, just hosing all of you with bullets. And some of them seems to be finding its mark. And then you hear the shouting of someone leading the troops on the barricade, giving order to open fire. And you all draw your weapons and prepare to retaliate against this foul nonsense.
On the next one.
Yes, on the next session, because we're almost 10 minutes over
Yeah.
now.
I was supposed to go, but I'm like, nah, this is getting too.
Yes, but now we have established what happens next time, so we can kick off with some speed next time.
All right, well,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
thank
heal my
you.
characters. I have 3 more.
How many fate points did you say I could have?
I said 2, so 2d10.
I think that's enough. Oops, who's this?
Hey Mombo, was this 8 or 9? I can never remember which session it was.
I think this is 8.
All right,
I honestly don't remember.
let's make it.
Yeah, this is session 8.
All right. Yeah, so now that, and I'll just say this as the last bit. Yeah, now that the order has been given to open fire, you see there's a couple of people dressed in tattered guardsman uniform who stands up with and raises their hell guns, pointing down at you. And they're all preparing to open fire. But we'll continue with this on the next week's adventure. So thank you all so much for the session. And
Thank you.